Hello there folks, sorry I haven't been on in a long time. I have spent the last forever creating clubs and inputting clubs and wanting to burn my eyes out, because anytime I'm not working or doing Football Manager or whatever, I am tinkering with this. But now I have the leagues complete with 660 original clubs, many of whom are new, some of whom exist. Most of whom, almost all of whom at this point have at least a kit, if not, at least two kits, sometimes three. There are 10 tiers, three divisions in the bottom tier, and I can't remember how many divisions, and a gigantical League Cup. And I've sorted out most of the regional issues, and that's what I want to talk about today. Welcome back. Sorry if you were missing me. Sorry, but I'm back. At this point, please no more new clubs. I can't add any more without messing up the tons of things. I suppose I could, but I'm not going to change a lot of things just for one club. If there are like 4 clubs coming in, we'll do it. Part of the reason it took so long was I spent a lot of time going to the actual original, the sources of the details, i.e. I wanted to find out, in the case, for example, of Clobone or whoever, what year they were founded in, what their colours are, what the away colours are. And a lot of the times, this information does not exist. One thing I've discovered with junior clubs in Ireland is most of their Facebook photos are of either the kids' stuff that they run, which oftentimes is random kits, or it is of the fundraising. And this is a thing I think we need to note. Junior clubs don't get any funding in Ireland. They have to find the money to register. I don't know if there's a prize fund in most leagues. I have added a prize fund to most leagues, so there's very few clubs will not come away at the end of a season without some income from their leagues. They have to register with the leagues, they have to pay for insurance for the players, they have to get kits, and most of the time, let's face it, they're not going to be given a kit by Adidas saying, oh, you're playing in the 7th tier of Irish football, even though that doesn't exist on a pyramid scale. We're going to give you a kit just so we can have the licensing opportunities. And there's so much that these clubs have to pay for. So raising money is a major thing. And also, a lot of this fundraising is part of what the community is. And I think that's important to note. It's all well and good supporting a Liverpool or a Juventus or a Barcelona or a DC United, and buying the shirt and watching them on telly and all that kind of stuff. But even at Premier Division level in Ireland, a lot of clubs rely on the fundraising and the community. It is a community of people who, when Waterford were dreadful, were going every night, every home game, when it was like 300, 200 people going. The reason that a club like Wexford or a club like Athlone has kept going, and I take 2 very different clubs, one that's not had a lot of success and one that's had a very successful history in the past. But they don't keep going because, it's important that Wexford has a league team, or Athlone have won the league and they're a very, very significant club in the country. Clubs die if that's all they're going on. It is the community that they build, how they interact with that community. And, the communities need to keep it going. That keeps it going. There's not multi-million-dollar sponsorships in Ireland. You aren't getting thrown a shed load of euro if you're an intermediate club who happens to sell on a good player. Most of the time they're going for free anyway. You might get some solidarity payments, but that's about it. There is not the opportunity if you are a junior club to sell shirts in the same way. So, trying to get the details, it's difficult, but worthwhile, in my opinion. Yes, of course, there are some made-up clubs and there are some made-up shirts, but that's neither here nor there. You didn't come here to hear me prattle on continuously about the plight of junior league clubs and intermediate league clubs and even professional clubs in Ireland. You came to see how do we do things on this. I hope you did anyway. Hopefully you're not just giving me a pity watch, but I will take a pity like and a pity subscribe. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today, we now have 660 clubs in the league. All the divisions are set, loaded, put in place. And it's quite a chaotic setup. We've got 10 sort of divisions and each of those divisions has a number of things. We've got 1, 1, 2, 4, 6, and I think that may be 7 or 8 tiers. By the time we get to junior level 7, let's open up the subdivisions, and you can see how many different subdivisions. Ulster Junior League, Donegal Junior Premier Division, Galway Junior Premier Division, Northwest Junior League, Dublin twice, Irish Combined Counties, Cork AUL, East and West, Limerick, Clare, Tip, Waterford and District Premier, Wexford Football, Wicklow and Kilkenny and Carlow. At junior level 8, there's even more teams. I think there's like another two leagues on top of that. At 9 it drops off, and by the time we get to regional level 10, we're down to something like 3. Yeah. And in each of these divisions, we have they're generally let's say stratified geographically for the most part. So if you're in the Tipperary District Premier, you could go down to the Tipperary District First Division, or you could get promoted to the Munster Senior League Division, Second Division East. Which, how does the computer know that your Tipperary team, your Clonmel Celtic, is going to be going when they get relegated from the Second Division? Oh, sorry, from the First Division. How do they know they're going north or south? Then how do they know that they're going to Munster rather than Leinster or wherever? And so on the way. How do we ensure that happens? Well, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you an example, and then I'm going to show you how I did it. Let's take Carrickmacross. This is the bit where I humiliate myself by showing you that I haven't done the thing. So, created Carrickmacross Rovers. You can see it's an original club because it's got far too many numbers to be. It's a club I made rather than one that's originally in the game. Far too many numbers for it to be there. It's in Ireland. Blah blah blah. We've got kits and colours. You can see shirts. Do I do? Yeah, I did a third. Sometimes I do a third. A lot of the times you can see I don't always do shorts because that's so much work. I'm not doing these things. I'm trying to tinker with these things as little as possible. Some of the teams I gave rivalries. Some of them I did not. Let me close that up. What's really important? Some of them have stadiums. Some of them do not. What's really important is they have their division that they're in, and above all, they have their regional divisions, how they go down the league. So, if Carrickmacross got to the First Division, then they get relegated. Theoretically, rather than playing to chance, it goes down to First Division North, because you have a choice and you can't stipulate what are the divisions it goes into. In the third tier, it's the Second Division North. It gets promoted to these as well. Connacht Ulster Senior League, Irish Ulster Senior Premier Division, and so on and so forth down the way. All the way down to the Irish Cavan and Monaghan District League. Now if we go back to the rules for a second, let's have a look at subdivision. Yeah, where is it? I suppose it'd be Ulster Junior League. So this is the 7th tier. This is the tier above where Cavan and Monaghan are. So a team that's in this division can get promoted to the Ulster Senior League First Division, but it could go into either the Cavan Monaghan or the Ulster Junior League 1, or the Partition League as I've been calling it for the crack. So how do these teams know? It's through those regional things. And again, I will show you once more. You go to Carrickmacross or whatever the team is, and you go down and you go under competitions, you put in regional divisions. Now with 660 odd clubs, you may be thinking, that sounds like a lot of work. And it would be if I did it that way. However, fortunately I've been able to do it in bulk, if that makes sense. So I'm going to show you how I did that, and I'm going to pick. What you can do is you can pick multiple towns in that you feel fall into a category, or you can pick just one. I'm going to pick just one, because the more clubs you add on when you segment it like this, the more difficulty it's going to be to break it up. So we've got clubs aren't extinct. The continental club is Ireland, and we're going to go for city. And seeing as we've been looking at them a bit, Duncannon. So hit enter. We've got 5 clubs there. They're all playing in the Wexford Football League, and honestly, that is where they all should be. They should go the path that goes through the 4 tiers of Wexford Football League, then on to the South East Championship and then Premiership, Super League, then on to Leinster Senior League South, then on to Second Division South, then on to First and Second. You don't have to put in First and Second because that's obvious. But when a club gets relegated, let's say St Leonard's gets up to to the Leinster Senior League South. Can't see it happening. Let's say it happens. They get relegated. They get relegated down from South to either Munster or Leinster. Now, what happens if 5 teams going down are from Leinster? It'll get put into Munster. And then you get into problems. Now, if all the teams going down are going into... if all the 4 teams going down are Leinster teams, it'll try and arrange things accordingly. And when an opportunity comes up, it will get shunted into the right place. So the following season, all the teams going down from the First Division, from the Second Division South, are Munster teams. Then you have an opportunity for the game to reshuffle and organise things. This is actually what happens in real life to some degree, where you have regional divisions. Back in the days, those of you who follow English football, look at the old regional third division from the 60s, I think it was. A team would go down and then they would have to figure out, okay, where does this best fit? Sometimes a team would be in the Division 3 South for a couple of years, and then a team will come down and it's like, okay, this team can now go into the Third Division North because that's more suited, or it has to. As far as possible, we want it to fall into our slots by not putting the full path down, and we can't. Like I said, you can put one division down that you can go into. By not doing that, you can't really guarantee that if St Leonard's gets relegated, they won't end up in Connacht eventually because of the need to shuffle teams around. They could end up in Sligo. When I've run this before in the past, the randomness was really frustrating in leagues where you get relegated into one of 2 or one of 3. So coming out of the South East Championship, you go either into Kilkenny Carlow, you could go into Wicklow, or you could go into Wexford. And sometimes St Leonard's coming down will go into Wicklow. But when there's an opportunity to realign, it'll go where it should go. Importantly as well, just because it says that it should go into Wicklow, just because Wicklow, Wexford and Carlow Kilkenny go into the South East Championship, teams get relegated from the South East Championship and go automatically, say for instance, into Cork or wherever. So I've played games in the past and it's like, oh wait, hang on, how did Kilkenny City win the Limerick Cup? We'll see that more about cups as we go along, but putting in this strata, putting in these regional divisions makes it an awful lot easier. So, having highlighted all 5, I hit edit, scroll down to competitions, regional divisions. You can see there's very little information because they all have the same kind of, they're all different. And we're going to add, because they go down as far as the 10th, we need to add 8 different things. When you get above 10, the time it takes for these to come up is tedious. So that's why I'm doing it just with Duncannon. I'll do the other Wexford teams. I've done almost all the other leagues apart from Wexford. This is the last one I'm going to do to finish it off. I want to show you one other codicil a little bit later. So level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is where it gets annoying. I have to go 9, 10. And now we need to populate these. So you get to watch the sausage literally being made. So nation is Ireland. And name should be okay. And we'll make it Second South. There we go. Our Second Division South. Oh, I missed out a step, didn't I? Okay, so we need to clear. The other thing you need to do is when this is done, you have to go through all of these to make sure they don't have a league already existing. I'll show you that in a moment. So add 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because if you don't, at best that's what you get, this kind of double up mess. And it can be very, very irritating. It's an easy thing to do. As you can see, I've spent an awful lot of time doing this. And I still am making that mistake. It's just South East League and Championship. And what's the other one I want to do? Oh yeah, it's into Wexford now. X. Probably just put in X and get it. But anyway. So this is how you do it. I know it sounds banal, but it really pays off if you want your leagues to your teams to stay, or to at least mostly go into the right league. I'm okay every now and again with, say, a Wexford team appearing in Carlow or Cork. And sometimes I build in a degree of flexibility. So let's go here. General. Yep, that's that done. So we'll click back out in the database. So we'll look at Bunclody, Bunclody. So with Bunclody teams, 2 of them are in Kilkenny Carlow, 2 of them are in the South East Championship. These 2 are basically Wexford teams. These 2 are basically Carlow teams. That's where they play their football. And we can do an interesting thing here where we can make them all work together. They both can go into either league. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Because I don't want to spend hours explaining this. So what you need to do is, for example, I do this with Dublin and Cork leagues because they're massive numbers of clubs. And sometimes a team in the city of Cork, we'll clear this. A team in the city of Cork should not end up in, for example, there's nothing on Tom Brack, there's nothing on Bunclody. I will clear that, there is. And Kildavin should have the Carlow stuff in it, yeah. So you can see the Kilkenny Carlow. It's mostly the same, and then when you get out of the South East Championship, it splits. Now, properly speaking, if you want to make sure that they can all go into the same league every time, don't bother putting in other alternatives. My inclination is put in other alternatives because it gets messy. Now, the nice thing is if they're in, what's the name of the places? If they're in Carlow, they can't get relegated. Or at least last time I was playing it, they couldn't. That should have shown up as 9 down below. Nope, it didn't. It's a little bit temperamental, but that's okay. So we'll start at the top. We have all these ones already there. Second Division South, Leinster Senior League, South East Super League, South East Championship. Now it gets a little bit fruity. So actually what I should really do is 7, 8, 8, add in 4 more rows. Add. Actually no, just 2 more rows because Carlow Kilkenny only goes down to 8. So we'll start from the bottom here and we'll work up with Wexford. And we'll put the Wexford lot on the bottom. My suspicion is that Carlow and Kilkenny teams might get relegated quicker because they've a weaker league. But there's nothing to back up that suspicion. So don't mind me. This is my superstitions. There's so much random in the game, which is a good thing, but it makes it trickier than maybe you might always want it to be. So there you go. That is basic. So these 4 clubs, when they get relegated from South East Championship, they could go into Kilkenny or they could go into Wexford. I generally pick those ones because they're so close, it makes no odds. I could go with New Ross as well, but there really is an ideological difference. Carlow and Wexford, there's an overlap. Same with Kilkenny and Carlow. South Wicklow and Wexford could be done the same way as well. I'm probably not going to bother with that. So let's see. Yeah, that's basically it. The regional variations for all the clubs. In theory, they should find their own strata as they go down, or when they can't go down in the right strata, they should be able to find their way back. Because, for example, the Leinster Senior League is very Leinster and what's the place? Leinster and Dublin oriented, not Southeast oriented. So there's going to be teams going into the Southeast Championship that really aren't quite so much Wexford teams. And when the Wexford teams, or Wexford Southeastern teams, and vice versa. But when they come back, hopefully we'll see things even out. Thanks a million. I hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe as always. I've got other things on. The plan is, by the way, when all this is over, when I've finally finished this monstrous pyramid task, I aim to save the thing, put it available for everybody, and play it, and I'm going to pod or YouTube that. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you don't like it. Thanks a million for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye.